Freewell just released their new variable NDs with diffusion built in. They're definitely a step up from the original Freewell variable ND. Hey, if you don't know me, my name's Jake and I create content here to help solo creators on the go. People like me who are on the go and who are creating small commercial projects or stuff for here on YouTube. So I test and review equipment in Alaska. I'm not currently in Alaska, but normally I am. And I do tips and tutorials on how to use that equipment so you can tell better stories and make smart decisions when you go to buy a new piece of gear. Currently, I'm traveling. That's why everything looks a little bit different around me than it normally does. But today, we're going to talk about the Freewell variable ND filter with mist built in. Something I'm really excited about. First, disclaimer. Just so we're clear, Freewell sent these to me. They're not paying for this review. They're not asking me to say anything specific. They don't get to see this video beforehand or anything like that. They just sent them, asked me to test them out, and give my honest opinion about them. Before we go much further, you need to know that I am a big fan of Freewell filters because they are incredibly durable and long-lasting. I've had some that I bought now for several years and they have yet to scratch. They're easy to clean. They don't have a lot of dirt or grime that sticks to them. They stay pretty clean on their own. But the fact that they don't scratch, even though I've wiped them off with dirty t-shirts, dirty hands, whatever I had on me at the time, means that they are really good quality. Now, when it comes to image quality, they do produce a good image, but every ND filter will give you a certain amount of color cast in one direction or the other. And so setting your white balance properly when you're using an ND filter pretty much takes care of it, but then also knowing, if something shifts it a little bit green or a little bit magenta, that you can go in and post and just tweak and adjust the colors a little bit, makes it really easy to use these. Now, let's jump into these specific filters and why I'm a big fan. One, I'm a big fan of the magnetic lens hood. You just simply snap it on and it stays, and it's actually quite hard to get off. Take it off when you're ready to shoot. It holds on really well. I was a little worried in the beginning when I got my original variable ND filter from Freewell that they would fall off easily, but they don't. They've actually stayed on my lens better than the stock lens cap that come with the lenses I have. They seem to fall off a lot easier than this one does. Then the question comes, do you need variable ND filters for what you do? If you shoot video in a lot of different locations like I do, where you need to be adjusting for light changing constantly, then a variable ND is really helpful because it allows you to set your aperture at whatever you want, like so you can get this nice kind of blurry background. You can keep your aperture really wide open and control the amount of light coming in so that you can keep your shutter speed at what it should be, which is 2 times your frame rate, whatever you're shooting in. So if you're shooting at 30, you want it at 60. If you're shooting at 24, I do because I'm civilized, then you want it at 48. But the closest thing you can find on cameras nowadays is 50. So I shoot 1/50. But a variable ND basically allows you to control the amount of light because as you turn it, as you twist it, it's 2 polarized filters that just slowly go and make things darker. A couple of the upgrades on this one from the original is it has these little indents so you can feel it as it hits stops. So we talked about variable NDs and why you might need or want to use a variable ND. It helps you control your story by controlling what people focus on. If everything in this room was in focus, then you would be focusing on everything around me. But right now, because I'm the one in focus mostly, you don't really think about what is on the countertop back there, what's on the table behind me or anything like that. You're just more focused on me talking to you, which is a good thing when it comes to telling a story. But why would you want a variable ND with a mist or diffusion feature built in? This is where it gets kind of interesting. What is the mist feature or the built-in diffusion feature that's built into this? It has to do with how lights, like these ones up here, come through this filter and then appear on the camera. So if I was going to shoot like this with a harsh backlight like that, then it looks like it looks, a very harsh backlight. But if we put this particular filter on, then now can you see how the light is what they would say bloomed or kind of pushed out? It doesn't have that small spot anymore. It's because it's going through this filter, which has a little bit of diffusion. So reason that you might want to use something like this is if you shoot in harsh light, which I do because I shoot outside a lot of times. On sunny days, it can be pretty harsh. This can help to soften the highlights or soften the way the light is interacting with you, your subject. Or if you're shooting around lights like this and you want to have it just feel a little bit softer, a little bit more film-like, because film, the way light used to hit film, sort of gave it this natural blooming effect like what you see here. So that's why a lot of people are coming out with mist filters. I, for one, am excited to start using this because of its ability to soften light and soften highlights, especially when I'm out shooting in places in the high noonday sun and in bright or around bright lights that I don't want the light to be this harsh pinpoint of light. I want it to kind of bloom and become a little bit softer. Now, just like before, you can buy these filters in a 2 to 5 stop or a 6 to 9 stop. If you buy them individually, it's about $110 US. Or you can buy the pair for about $220. And that's a really good deal. For the quality of construction and the quality of glass that's in these filters, you're actually getting a really good filter for a really inexpensive price, especially considering some competing brands. Of course, if you're interested in purchasing these or checking them out for yourself, links, as always, are in the description. They're affiliate links, they help me out, but it's no extra cost to you. Really, ND filters are an essential piece of kit that you need to have in your bag with you because they open up a lot more opportunities and a lot more ways that you can creatively compose a shot and deal with the way that light is coming into your camera. So if you don't have any ND filters, you really should consider picking some up. If you're curious about other gear that I think is pretty essential for solo creators, click or tap there. I put together a playlist. I will see you in one of those videos. I just have a couple of flights to get back to Alaska, which is probably freezing cold. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.